Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my first live stream of 2026. This is awesome. I have a couple things I'm testing out, making sure that we are live and people can hear me. If you put in the comments, make sure you can hear me, you can see me. Ooh, testing one, two. All right, so we are live. We are good to go. Let's get started. Chances are, if you're here, you are an entrepreneur. And if I can take a guess, you probably told yourself in 2025, this time last year, that you wanted to take content creation serious. You wanted to build your personal brand. You wanted to turn your content into clients, into opportunity to maybe speak on stages, to get DMs, to become in demand, to become known for the thing that, well, you know and your expertise in, right? And in my 7 years creating content for over 100 different entrepreneurs, ranging from 6, 7, and even 8 figures, there's been one constant thing that I've noticed that they do every single week that makes them never have to worry about money again. That makes them never have to worry about the next opportunity, about getting clients, getting leads. And that simple one task that they do every single week that makes them the obvious choice is creating content. And so in this video, what I want to walk you through is very simple: how you can turn your content to clients. But in order to do that, you have to understand the 4 lies that are keeping you stuck, keeping your content from actually getting seen by the right audience. Then I want to go into the secret to the most powerful marketing that I've ever learned in my 7 years, being a marketer, being a strategist, and the 4P framework that I've developed that helps turn strangers into buyers with content alone. So buckle in, because I'm going to go into a lot of detail. And so if you want to take notes, that's awesome. But let's do this. Now, quick little caveat. I'm I'm very sick. So if I'm coughing, sneezing, please forgive me. I'm going to do my best, but I know we're going to have a great time. Okay. So let's talk about the lie that we have been told in 2026. The lie that so many of us believe. And I believe this for a long time. And I pinch myself every time I think this way or my clients think this way, that more views equal more sales. This could not be less true in 2026. And I'm going to prove it to you. This is my client, Dan. This is a screenshot of a video he filmed for us about us helping him scale with YouTube. And in this video, he talks about the YouTube funnel, right? In that in 2026, how we're able to turn content to clients without having lots of views. And to show you, if you're looking right here, let's try out my fancy iPad here. Ooh, nice. I like this. Okay. He has less than 2,000 subscribers at the time of recording this video. Less than he gets on average 1.7 views on the top video, the middle video 1.3, 1.2, and yet he's getting DMs like this every single day. Hey, just watched one of your YouTube videos and I want to work with you. My intuition is leading me to binge watching your videos. Hey Dan, I've been binge watching your content lately and would love to chat about possibly working together. So he's getting little views, has little subscribers, and yet he's making $144,000 every single month. So this shows you, this is, by the way, which is well over $1 million business. You don't need massive audience. You don't need massive attention to make sales. I made a video just last week that got like 80 views, but I got a DM from it. Someone from LinkedIn said, I saw your video and want to talk about, starting my own channel. So you do not need massive views to make massive sales. Okay. And to prove my point even more, this is Iman Ghazi, right? He's arguably one of the youngest, richest entrepreneurs, right? And he has a massive following. So if you see here, he's a following of 5.8 million subscribers. So why would someone with 5.8 million subscribers that gets on average 400,000 views start a brand new channel? Well, because he understands that this channel, this has lots of views, but it doesn't actually help him make sales. And so that's why he focuses on this, the second channel. Do you see what I'm saying? Going with this? This is what's important. This is the lie we've been told. You do not need more views to make more sales. Okay? All right. Let's move on. Lie number 2. I just need a better funnel. I have fell into this lie time and time again. I've tried ClickFunnels. I tried Go High Level. I tried creating my own fancy funnel. And funnels are great. Don't get me wrong. Like, funnels have their place. But to think that I just need a better funnel and that will fix my sales problem or fix my client attraction problem or my lead gen problem is not true. It's just not, okay? I've worked with literally the best in the business. I was flown out to Las Vegas to work with School.com, run by Alex Hormozi and Sam Ovens, and literally worked with all the school game winners for 6 months. The people who are making 200 plus K per month in their school community. And like, yes, they have a funnel, but it's like their funnel is so simple, you'd laugh. Okay. This is the equivalent of that lie. Hey, we never met before, but want to buy my offer? That's what I feel like funnels are in 2026. I don't know about you, but I'm getting bombarded with ads every single day asking me to opt into their funnel when I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to sell me, and it's not working like it used to. And so the reason this is because we live in a trust recession. More and more people do not trust what they see and hear online. And a big part of it is to do with AI. Although I love AI, what's happening is there's so much AI content. There's actually more AI content than there is human generated content that people do not trust what they see and hear online. 70% of people say that it's harder to trust what they see online. Literally, I just said that. 59% say it's difficult to distinguish between content created by humans and content created by AI. And 84% want a mandate to label AI generated content. So this data shows you that we are living in a trust recession. The focus isn't to do with more views, it's to do with more trust. So I'm not saying don't have a funnel. I'm saying that if you think that's the problem, it's not. Okay? Line number 3. This is a big one. Short form over long form. It's crazy how many times I speak to entrepreneurs and they think that, oh, I'm not going to tackle YouTube. I'm going to just tackle short form as if that's an easier, better platform. So Google came out with a study that it takes on average 7 hours of content to gain enough trust with someone for them to buy. So if you want to think like this, the more hours they spend consuming your content, the higher likely they are to become a client. Pretty simple, right? So let's break down the math. If you're going to create 7 hours worth of Instagram Reels, let's assume it's 1 minute long, you need 420 Reels. That's a lot of Reels. Or 7 1-hour long YouTube videos. You tell me which one is easier. Which one's easier to consume? Which one's easier to create? Which one can you be more consistent with? 1 weekly hour-long video every single week or 400 Reels? I don't know about you. I've never watched 400 Reels. Like, I've doom scrolled before, but like 400 is a lot, right? And just to get to 7 hours, that's the bare minimum. So short form is not the way to get clients in 2026. It has its place. Don't get me wrong. But if I were to pick one, I would pick long over short. All right. Last but not least, this is a big one. I don't have the proper gear. Okay. Let's squash this in 2026. Okay. We have something called an iPhone, which arguably has better cameras than my $5,000 camera that I'm filming this on right now. You have no excuse about gear anymore. There is such affordable gear. When I started creating content 7 years ago, to get into the market, you needed $1,000 at minimum. Now to get in the market, you can get in for free with AI because you can record on your phone. If you don't like the way you sound, AI can make it better. So there's no excuse about the gear, but I do want to preference this that if the two biggest guys in the market, Alex Hormozi and Gary Vee, if they're the two biggest entrepreneurs and arguably, right, in the space, right, social media offers, and they started with these crappy videos, webcam videos, Look, this guy started 19 years ago. This guy started 5 years ago. Then you can too. There's no excuse in 2026 why gear should be stopping you from creating content. This is someone I just discovered. I forget his name, but it really was interesting because, like, obviously I have a filmmaking background. He's getting tons of views, tons of engagement. I'm assuming making lots of money. Look at the aspect ratio, right? If you see on the side right here, is that there is right there. He doesn't even fill the whole frame, meaning like he's using a very old school webcam. Okay. So if this guy who's getting 20,000 people to view his 23-minute video, and he's not even filling up the full frame, which is very against best practices for YouTube, and he's succeeding, then why can't you? So these are the 4 lies that so many of us believe stopping us from getting clients in 2026. And hopefully after this is all squashed. That you don't need massive views, you don't need a better funnel, you don't need to pump out 420 shorts, and you don't need any fancy gear. Now, you're probably wondering, well, okay, Kyler, what do you need in order to turn content into clients? So I said before, I'm going to reveal the secret, those powerful secret I've learned about strong marketing. Powerful marketing is said by Dan Kennedy, arguably one of the most famous and successful copywriters, marketing strategists. And he said this. Let's see if I can blow this up. Your message needs to enter into the conversation already happening in the customer's mind. Here's what that means. In my 7 years creating content, the entrepreneurs who succeed the most understand their clients crystal clear. The more crystal clear you know of your client, the easier your marketing becomes, the easier sales become. When you have powerful marketing, sales become effortless. And this is what this is talking about. It's saying when you enter into the conversation already happening in the mind, so the conversation that they're having to themselves, like, oh, I'm not good enough, or I can't, these conversations, that's where these lies are coming from. Like, I need more views, I need a better funnel, short form over long form, I need better gear. I'm entering into the mind of the person watching this, the person who's thinking those things. And that's what creates powerful marketing. It's not about just posting or broadcasting ideas to a wider niche, right? It's about creating it's about entering into the mind, entering into the conversation already happening in your customer's mind. See, it's already happening. I'm tearing up. No, just got a runny nose. So how does this play into, like, how do we turn content into clients? Like, what does this mean? It's like, so how do I get started? Where do I start in this content creation journey? So I would start at the 5 stages of customer awareness. Instead of trying to think of a fancy funnel, think of your niche, your audience, the people you're trying to target are in different stages, right? And not all people in your audience or in your niche is created equal, right? So a fitness coach who's making $100,000 per month and a fitness coach making $1,000 per month are obviously in different, have different problems and they could be in the same stage, but have different goals, aspirations, frustrations, right? So there's even levers and levels to this as well, right? So it's not just like, this is like, could be the bottom layer and this could be the top layer. There's different levels. Oh, I got to do it on this side because so there's different levels to this, right? What you want to do is, instead of trying your content to try to sell people, you want to have your content guide people through these stages so the sale becomes a byproduct of trust, okay? So what does this look like, right? So you obviously need to understand your client avatar very, very well, right? Know their hopes, their frustrations, their wants, and their aspirations, okay? But this is what it kind of looks like, okay? And this is what Dan did, if I go back, right? If you see here, he posted YouTube, he got people to DM him, and then he got people to pay him for his coaching, okay? So this is the breakdown of that process. You create problem and solution aware content, right? In the 5 stages. So, what are the problems? What are the pains that they're having? And what solutions are they looking for? And you are having conversations, right? The more conversations you have, the more money you will make. So, if you want to turn content into clients, you have to turn content into conversations. This is the thing that happens. Now, conversations could be sales conversations, like a sales call, could be a one to many, like a webinar or a school community. It could be just in the DMs, right? It's up to you. Dan took the approach of like in the DMs, right? So for this example, what he would do is he would make content around the problems of his ICP, of his client avatar, and then direct them to some type of lead magnet, right? Where people would opt in and he can then have a conversation. And then they're in the conversation. He's like, hey, how was this? What are you struggling with? And they would respond. And then he would say, oh, if you're struggling with this, here's some more content. And this created this binge loop, right? Because again, what do we want? We want 7 hours. 7 hours of content. The more they consume content, the higher trust, the easier it is to sell them. So again, we're not trying to sell them, we're trying to help them, right? As coaches, consultants, experts, we didn't get into business just to make money. Of course, that is the byproduct of solving problems, but we got into business to solve a problem. So that's what we're trying to do. Our content just needs to solve the problems of our prospects, of our clients. That's it. It's actually quite simple. We overcomplicate this really. We overcomplicate this in their mind because we see all these hacks and trends. But reality is, if you make content and you're entering into the conversation happening inside the mind of your customer, you will never have to worry about money again. You'll never have to worry about opportunities, about leads, about anything. All you need to know is create content in the problem and solution aware, and then have conversations to build up their knowledge, their awareness of your product and your brand. That's it. So you're not trying to sell them, you're trying to actually give them value. This is what builds know, like, and trust. The famous words. If you want to build a personal brand, if you want to create authority, you have to be known for something, you have to be liked, and you have to be trusted. And that is simply how you turn content into clients. Now, I know what you're asking now. Okay, that makes sense from a strategy standpoint. What does it look like practically, right? So what I want to walk you through is something I've developed, and it's, in my 7 years creating content for, like I said, hundreds of different entrepreneurs, this is what I found to be the trifecta of the intersection of like when content seems to work. Okay, take a sip of water here. So, in 2026, the goal of my content is not so much to get attention, as I shared before. It's to become someone worth chasing. Because we are craving, there's a quote that I forget who said it, is that people don't buy coaching, they buy coaches, right? I believe this with content. People don't just consume content, they are consuming the person inside the content. They're buying into the person beside the content. I can replicate a video, have the same camera settings, the same lighting, the same studio, the same script, but that person's video may or may not outperform my video because of the person in the content. And this is the first pillar of the authority-driven content model, the new way to turn content into clients, which is your positioning. How you position yourself in the market is arguably the most important thing when it comes to your content, right? Because how you're positioned is like what makes you different. If you make a video about how to sign 5 clients in 5 days, and Alex Hormozi makes a video on how to sign 5 clients in 5 days, who do you think people are going to watch? Probably Alex Hormozi, right? He's awesome. Excuse me. But if you're positioned in a way that resonates with your audience, let's say you're a fitness coach, how to sign 5 fitness coaching clients, or how to sign 5 clients in 5 days as a fitness coach, people may pick you over Alex because you're positioned to what they want, to where they are, right? So, in order to develop your positioning, there are a few elements that you need to consider, okay? Now again, let's try this out. Ooh. Let's do a little thicker though. Okay, I like this. This is nice. Okay. Sorry, this is a new iPad, so I'm like playing around how to use this thing. Okay, awesome. So, the first step in understanding your position is understanding the person you were. So, this is about talking about your proof, right? What successes, what changes, what shifts, where were you and who you are now? Because obviously, if you're an authority, if you're an expert, you weren't always this way. So, who is this person that you've become, right? You want to really understand and actually do something called the 2-year test. And the 2-year test, doesn't have to be 2 years. It could be like 5 years, whatever. Like my journey is 7 years, so I would do like a 7-year test. But you want to write down what are the main milestones of the last 2, 3, 5 years around your expertise. What are the successes? What are the lessons? Write that down. Who's the person? Who is this person? Okay. And then you want to, on the other side, figure out, well, who do you want to serve, right? Because your position has to serve someone. So, as I said before, that the most important thing, the secret to marketing, is entering into the conversation already happening in your customer's mind. So, you have to understand who your customers are. So, person is like twofolds, right? Person who you were and person who is your clients, okay? The next piece is your promise. Sorry for my chicken scratch here. So your promise is, what promise are you giving to the market? So for me in 2026, my promise is I'm helping experts become the authority that clients chase, right? Very clear that in order to attract and be magnetic in your content is you have to be an authority. And that's why I've created the authority-driven content model, right? So the promise that I have in your market, so the promise could be for you if you're fitness, I just use fitness because it's easy, is like lose 10 pounds in 30 days with the keto diet, right? What is your promise in the market, right? Next is, what is your process, also known as your unique mechanism, right? So part of positioning, what makes you stand out and different, is who you are, who you serve, the promise you have, and the process you get there. So there are a lot of people who are marketers, right? Like tons of people, but not everyone is content marketers, and not everyone is a YouTube specific content marketer, and not everyone on YouTube is specifically to help people get clients like I am, right? So you see how the person is very different, the promise is very clear, and the process is very unique, right? My process that I'm going through right now is the authority-driven content model. So this is helping me create a brand position to stand out in the market. And the last thing, and this one is not a lot of people talk about, is your POV. When you want to build know, like, and trust, people sometimes forget about the like part. No, I wanted red. Let's try that again. There we go. People forget that people buy from people they know, like, and trust. But if I know you and trust you, but if I don't like you, like we don't vibe, I don't believe in the same thing you believe, it doesn't matter how much success you have, I'm not going to go with you, right? So sharing your POV, your point of view, your perspective, helps you to stand out, helps you to establish a position in the market that is different from the rest. It's not about being better, it's about being different. This is the game of content creation in 2026. It's not being better, it's being different. And so the more you can be yourself, the more you can be authentically you, the more you'll have a strong brand position, right? Your content will have a strong brand position, okay? So if you have any questions, put it in the comments because I can take a deeper dive, but I want to go through everything here, okay? The next part of this puzzle is packaging. So Okay, let's change this back to black. So packaging is arguably one of the most undervalued and like huge skill that not a lot of people really know, right? And this is a skill I'm still developing, right? But packaging is about how do you package your ideas for the market to consume. So this is hooks, this is title and thumbnails on YouTube, this is packaging offers, it is everything. It is $1,000,000 skill if you can master packaging. Because like for example, if you're looking at two book covers, one says how to succeed in business and in life, and the other one is how to scale to $1,000,000 per month and still have freedom or something like that, right? Which book are you going to pick up, right? The content in the book could be the same, but the packaging, right, was well crafted again for the client avatar, right? So packaging has to do with your ideas, okay? So what you want to think about when packaging is a few things. Number one is curiosity. Okay? So curiosity, when we see something, have you ever like seen like something on YouTube and you're like, wow, like you feel like compelled to click on it, like oh my god, I have to know what's going on, or you get trapped on TikTok, like you start watching this video and have to see the ending, is because they identified a curiosity gap. They created a gap that in your mind you have to fill. So this is one of the most important things you need to do in your marketing, in your hooks, is what is the curiosity gap? So going back to the problem aware, solution aware, if you're struggling to get clients consistently, it's not your fault. There is a secret, that you've been lied to in the market, and there's 4 lies, right? So I created curiosity gap in the very beginning of this presentation when I said the 4 lies keep you stuck, right? And so you're like, well, what are the 4 lies? Am I doing it? So that's an example of like a curiosity gap, right? And that can be also in title and thumbnail as well. The next thing is credibility. I can't even spell. Jeez. Anyways, you ain't here for my spelling. Credibility. When you want to be an authority, you have to have credibility. And so the important thing in your packaging is that oftentimes we want to make packaging like how to do X, or how to do XYZ to get ABC result, right? But the problem is there's no credibility in that type of packaging, right? When you can say take the packaging for this. I say my exact system for turning content to clients, just by changing the word my exact system versus like the exact system or how to, right? I'm saying, and I'm having credibility by saying it's my system. It's something that I do with my clients every single week, right? So adding credibility to your packaging will help you get more clicks, get more show up rates, get more people coming to calls already pre-sold. You need to add credibility to your packaging. Next is contrast. So visually, contrast can be like, a visual thing. But what I really mean by contrast is like the difference between A and B, right? So like we are all visual creatures. So when you can visually show a contrast in your packaging, it makes me want to click more. It's almost like curiosity, but it's more of a visual component, right? I'll have to bring up examples. I'll do that probably in my next live stream so that I can properly show you what that looks like, because I'm realizing now that you probably need to see it in order to understand it, right? But without further ado, let's move on. Last thing, clear. If your packaging's unclear, you're not going to get clicks. You're not going to get people to consume your content. So if you come up with a fancy, method, you come up with a fancy process of like, this is my secret sauce recipe to losing or to gaining strength or something like that. But it's strength in what? Mental strength, physical strength. It's not clear. it's going to be harder to convert people, harder to get clicks, harder to get clients. So these are the 4 C's that you need in your packaging to properly get clicks and get people to consume your content, right? If you want more info, I have a free Skool community. I'll link it down in the description later, where I talk about this more in depth, and I actually have more visual aids to support you in this. All right, let's keep going. Production. So I said something earlier, right? At the very top here. I said, you don't need proper gear. This is true. You do not need proper gear. You can totally succeed with just your iPhone, okay? But if you want to be the authority that clients chase, why wouldn't you invest in a system that allows you to show up consistently, professionally, and stand down the market? Because everyone's using iPhone, right? If it's an excuse, like, don't use it as a crutch to not start. But once you started and you're consistent, you're getting going, then why not increase your production? Why not increase the look and feel of your videos? And so all you need to focus on is having a clear system, right? And this is what you focus on. You want to focus on lights. You want to focus on your camera. You want to focus on your audio. You want to focus on a visual. So this is cool. I love this iPad. Okay. So lights, as you can see here, I'm very well lit. I have a simple ring light you can't see off camera, right on my left-hand side, that's lighting up my face. I have a professional camera, but this could be your iPhone. I have a professional mic so you can hear me clearly. And my visual aid is my iPad. So very simple, right? Very simple setup, right? I'm using OBS. If you don't know what that is, you can look it up to streamline this live stream, but also to record this video. And so I don't need any editing. And so this makes content creation effortless. This makes content creation look, sound, and feel professional, feel like I'm an authority, feel like I know what I'm doing, and I put effort into it. And so if you can add some of these components to your production, to your content, you're going to stand out. Okay? Now, again, if you want more support, more help, there's links down in this YouTube link that you can go check out. Okay? Now, the last thing, this is what everyone is like stressing about, is publishing. What is the right publishing strategy to turn viewers into clients? Okay? So I learned this strategy from another coach. So I didn't come up with this, but this has been working like for the last 7 years. Ever since I've been creating content, this has been working. It's been modified slightly, but the principles are the same. So I'm going to teach you the principles, and then if you want to take a deeper dive, we can go into it. So the strategy for publishing is this. You want to publish 3 different types of content. The first type of content you want to publish is called growth. So the idea of growing your brand, right? This is not to grow an audience or to grow followers. This is to grow in getting known in the market. So there are 3 ways that I've discovered that are really, really great to get known in the market. Way number 1, let's see if I can turn this, is simply something called the outlier strategy. What this is you are finding videos that perform exceptionally well with someone who have less following. So for instance, my brand, I have like maybe 2,000 followers. If I had a 500,000 viewed video, that would be an outlier. So that would be something that you can replicate to get more known in the industry. I don't recommend only doing this type of content, because what happens is you get known, but you don't get trusted. And so this is only one layer of the content you need to publish. Now, the second thing in growing is actually podcasts or partnership. So if you want to be known for something, go on people's podcasts, because chances are they already have a loyal fan base. And if you are a guest, you already have, you are literally going on stage, if you will. you are growing your brand every single time you go on a podcast. I don't care if it has 50 followers, if it has 100 followers, if it has 10,000, listeners or viewers, whatever. Those are loyal people. The people who watch and consume podcasts are loyal. And those are people who will buy your products and services. So if you want to grow and be known in your industry, jump on people's podcasts. And the last one is simply ads. Ads are a great way to scale, right? Great way to get known in the market. I wouldn't use ads to directly sell people. I would use ads to get myself out there. And I would only do this once I know something works. So if I was starting out, I wouldn't start with ads, right? Don't start there. That is a vehicle to accelerate and scale, right? It's putting gasoline on the fire, not to spark the fire, okay? Now, the next type of content is authority content. So what does that look like? My chicken scratch. So funny. So what makes you trusted? What makes you the authority? There's 3 different types here that makes you the authority. Authorities are leaders in the space, thought leaders. And thought leaders shift people's beliefs. They don't just teach people something, because that's what teachers are. That's what experts are. But if you want to be an authority that clients chase, you need to shift people's beliefs, shift people's behaviors, shift people into becoming someone they are not. So when I think about creating content to establish trust and become an authority, I think about shifting people's beliefs. The second thing in becoming an authority is I want to show people, not tell people. So this is an example of me not only shifting your beliefs, but showing you visually how you can turn content into clients. So showing, not just telling, right? I'm visually showing you, right? This builds trust, because you see, if I didn't know how to do this, I wouldn't be able to do it, right? And the last thing is share. I talked about earlier in positioning that your POV helps you to stand out. Sharing your unique perspective, sharing more about your life, that like you like golf, or you like to dance, or you're a father, or you want to retire your parents. Those things are what connects us as humans. So sharing those aspects of your life, it's not that you're making a whole video about, hey, look at my family. It's about interjecting these things into your content, right? I did all these things in this video today so that you build more trust and you see me as an authority in this space. So when you're creating authority-driven content, you want to think shifting perspectives, showing people frameworks, showing people results, showing people, not telling people, and sharing your unique perspective and your values and what you care about and who you are, right? Now, the last thing is P for personality. You see a common theme here. Let's move this. In order to become the person worth chasing, you have to be okay being yourself. You have to be okay with people not liking you and people loving you. There are people who do not like Kyler. I don't know why. I'm such an awesome guy. But people don't like me, and that's okay. And there's people that love me, and that's great. But the more that I shine through in my videos, the more I am myself, the more the right people I want to attract. I'm not trying to attract everyone. I'm trying to attract the people that I can grab a beer with. I can have a coffee with. I enjoy hanging out with. There's nothing worse than signing a client that's someone you don't like or don't respect, right? I don't think any of us really want that. Like, it is more hurtful for our business than just for getting the money. So leaning into your authenticity and leaning into your personality is really what will help you stand out. There's more AI generated content now in 2026 than ever before. So the more human you can be, the more you're going to stand out. The more you're going to be able to turn content into clients. There is my mess of a of a workflow. Now, we talked a lot about turning content into clients. The biggest thing I want you to walk away with is, if you would do anything from this talk, is to get laser focused on who your clients are. Your content will not convert and turn to clients and turn to demand and turn to opportunity if you do not enter into the conversation already happening in your client's mind. Once you understand that, everything else gets simple. Everything, this whole process here, gets simple. That's it, guys. That is the simple way to turn your content into clients. I really appreciate you guys all being here. I'm gonna look. I don't see many questions in the chat right now. I'm just opening up, seeing what is else out there. And if there's no questions, it's great. If this resonates with you and you are like, hey, I want to learn more about, what this guy's offering, there's a link in the description. You can book a call with me. We can chat about how you can make YouTube your number one growth engine in 2026, the number one way you get clients, how you build your business with purpose, with profit, with freedom, and how you become the authority that clients chase. So without further ado, thank you guys so much. Really, really appreciate it. Well, take care. Peace.